I have a book review for you guys. So this book actually comes out this upcoming Tuesday, and it is The Snowbirds by Christina Clancy. If you're not familiar with what a snowbird is, you're probably not from Wisconsin. A snowbird is somebody who lives in a colder northern state and during the winter months chooses to go live in a different state, typically something like Florida or Arizona, California. Alabama's become more popular. So like we migrate down south for the cold and then go back up in the summer. A lot of times this is kind of a retiree thing. So as you could tell, this book is about some snowbirds. You have Kim and Grant. They've been together for 20 plus years. They raised 2 kids. They just never got married. For the bulk of that time, though, they have kind of lived separate lives. So Grant teaches at a rural college in the middle of rural Wisconsin. It's kind of southwest areas, I think what it said. And Kim has worked and lived in Madison, raising their 2 kids. So Grant rents an apartment, lives in his college town during the week, and then comes home on the weekends. So, I mean, this is a situation that absolutely would not work for me at all. Like, I could spend 24 hours a day with my husband and still want more time. So that would not be a thing for us. But for some people, I know that works. So they have spent, again, 20 plus years living in this kind of 2 separate lives, separate but together sort of a thing. And then Grant's college shuts down. He essentially moves home, and Kim decides to take a sabbatical from her work, and they decide, you know what, we're going to snowbird. We're going to go to California for the winter months. And they are suddenly faced with the necessity of spending a lot more time together. I mean, even just the road trip from Wisconsin out to California, it's time and kind of getting on each other's nerves, and they're just kind of testing out this relationship. Grant is very set on, I want to marry you, and Kim's like, I don't know that I want to give up my independence like that. I don't know that we need to get married. So while they're out there, Grant becomes really into hiking. He goes out for a hike, and then he doesn't come back. And the book it flashes back and forth through time, from the time when Grant is missing backwards to Kim kind of reflecting on their relationship over the years and the decades. Because this dilemma that Kim has to confront is Grant really lost on his hike, or did he walk out on me again? Because he's walked out on her several times over the course of their time together. So it's such an intimate portrait of this relationship, and 2 people who have kind of grown separately but together at the same time, and what does it mean to be in that committed relationship with somebody? At one point, Grant says, relationships are about sacrifice. And I tell you what, I had a flashback to an ex that I had that said, well, that's what relationships are. One person has to sacrifice. And I was like, well, it's not one person sacrificing all the time. It's supposed to be a mutual thing. So this hit pretty hard. And I think the fact that the characters were from Madison, they felt so personal. They felt like parts of myself and parts of people that I know all put together, which is so cool. I mean, they nailed Wisconsin culture, if that's a thing. I don't know if that's the way, but there's a certain aspect of being from Wisconsin. There are certain things. I'm sure you've seen the what's the guy, the Manitowoc Minute guy. He's super, Charlie Barron's, that's his name. He's super popular, super famous, really funny. There's something very Wisconsin about what he does, and you get that same sense in this book. But the feelings and just the roller coaster that I was on with this book, which is so intense because that's the roller coaster that Kim is on. So the author does such a good job of taking you on that journey with the character. And there were times when Grant, I was like, oh, Grant, you're driving me nuts, buddy. I don't like you. And then there's times where I was like, Kim, come on, girl. Seriously, lighten up a little bit. You don't have to be all whoo, okay, I'm from rural Wisconsin, and rural Wisconsin and Madison, Wisconsin are 2 very different societies. And I think a good chunk of rural Wisconsin thinks that Madison is very disconnected from reality from the real world. So like, I noticed my rural sensibilities where I was like, oh, Kim, what the heck? Like, you're like, let go of some of that cityfied thing that you've got going on there. So it's just, that was really, really interesting to like feel my reactions to it. But this is a really, really good book. It is very, I would say, character driven. Like, you're constantly learning more about these characters. The character is developing. What the funny part is, the character is developed because the book starts when Grant goes missing and you're at this point and this is who these characters are. But then you go back in time and you watch the development happening and you understand why they are the way they are. Why does Grant walk out on Kim multiple times in their relationship? Why does Kim have this gut instinct to pull away from this concept of marriage? Like, you learn all these things about the characters. So she does such a good job. For all of my Wisconsin people that watch these reviews, this is a yes. This is an absolute yes. You need to go read this book because you will relate so much to these characters. And it's like, that is so cool to see kind of us reflected in the characters of these books. Even if you're not from Wisconsin, though, I think you will still really enjoy the exploration of what a long-term relationship means and how does it change you as a person, and how do you change your partner, and what are the compromises that you have to make in order to stay with somebody for decades, because there is no long-term relationship without compromise. I think that hopefully most people know that. But where do we draw the line with those compromises? What is so important to you as an individual person that you're not willing to compromise or give it up for the person that you love? Really, really interesting questions. So yes, go read this book. Like I said, comes out February 4th. The store will have copies here, so if it sounds good to you, definitely come in and grab one. And I'm so happy I read this book, and I think I'm up to like 7 books now that I finished this year, and it has been a fantastic year of books so far. Like, I think every single one of them has had a yes, and I've only DNF'd 2, and both of them are ones that I want to come back to. So it's kind of a soft DNF. It's just the audiobook wasn't working for me, so I have to wait. I have to get a physical copy and then try to read it. So that's pretty good. But The Snowbirds by Christina Clancy. Yes. Go read this book and be prepared to feel a lot. Bye.